Okay, so today we're going to talk about this problem on Hackerrank, which is the simple array sum. It's on the practice of problem solving algorithms warm up simple array sum. So, given an array of integers, find some of its elements. For example, if the array named AR is 1, 2, 3, then what we want to do is we just want to add each element to each other and then return the sum of it. So complete this array. This is the function description where they describe about the problem. Complete the simpleArraySum function, the editor below. It must return the sum of the array elements as an integer. simpleArraySum has the following parameters: AR, an array of integers input format. The first line contains an integer n denoting the size of the array. The second line contains n separated integers representing the array's elements. Um, so the constraints here is that from 0 to n, and array, the index of it, the elements basically less than or equal to 1000. Print the sum of the array's elements as a single integer. So this is a sample input. So when they say 6, there will be 6 elements in this array. We can see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 11. So these total of it's 6 elements, and the sample output should be 31 because, as the explanation says here, we print the sum of the elements within that array. So 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 and plus 10 plus 11 is equal to 31. So let's look at the task itself. So from here you can choose the language of your wish. So you get, for those who are comfortable with solving in Python language, here you can choose Python here, Ruby on Rails, and Scala, and Perl, Erlang, Clojure, but I think I'm gonna solve it with Java 7. I was gonna go with Java 8 too, but it's okay. Right, so basically this part, you don't have to pay attention to it. So basically it's self-explanatory. Private static scanner, they're creating a scanner to get the user input, and then this is the main method. It basically is given a path to the where the input is going to be, and integer parse in scanner, next line trim. Okay, and looks like they're here filling up the array and the result, and this is our method, simple array sum, and as you can see right here, it's being highlighted on top. So this is the method, and it takes an array as an input, and the return type is integer. And this array method is static, so now we don't have to create instance of this class in order for us to call this simple array method within our main method. So that's pretty much it. So now let's get to the task. So what we want to do here is that we should create integer local variable integer sum, and we want to initialize to 0. And from here what we want to do is every time when we see the element in an array, we're just going to add it to the sum. Let's see, this is our given array right now from the system. So what we want to do is we want to use a for loop, and we will loop through this for loop until the end of the array, and we're going to increment I by 1 each time. So now what we want to do is we want to do add each element of that array to the sum variable that we created. So and at the end, this is expecting a return um, integer. So the sum now has all the elements of array summed up, right? Or variable sum. So what's happening here in this for loop? Basically, we initialized I to 0, which will take the first element of array, right? So let's say we have an array 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, for example, right? I want to give a space between them, so it's now the index of 1 is gonna be 0. So let's imagine this array's name is AR right now. So AR I, when the I is equal to 0, this is 1. That means from this array, this 1 has the index of 0. Now this is, imagine this is 0. So after that, AR1 is equal to 2. So this is index 1, and from our array at index 1 we have 2. Now in a simpler way, I think we could also say that in an array index, and all the indexes of array start with 0 and goes all the way to array dot length minus 1. This will be array dot length minus 1 from the given array will be the last element of the array, because if we take a look at this array, its size, the length is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 elements, right? But what is the index of this last element? Is gonna be 4. Array size, array length minus 1, because this is 0, index, index 1, index 2, index 3, index 4. So array, the size length of the array is 5, but the index of last element is array dot length minus 1, because that is equal to 4. The array dot length is 5, right? Because we have 5 elements, and when we do minus 1, it's pointing to the last element of the array. So now here I did I could have done it like this, equal to, or I mean the I is less than or equal to array dot length minus 1, which will still come to all the way to the end of the array, or we can just simply do this. They both are gonna work the same way, because it's never gonna reach the array's length size. It's always gonna be 1 less than that, because this equal to will only be true until it is actually equal to that number. So and here we have initialized the sum variable to 0, and it is integer, and every time when this for loop is happening, it's coming here, checking I is equal to 0. So in our array, index 0 is number 1, let's say, and then taking that number 1, adding it to the sum. So now our sum has number 1. And then on the next round, after completing this, before it sees the semicolon, and before this curly braces, it's going back here and incrementing I by 1. So now here our I is going to be 1 on the next iteration, and it tries to look at index 1 of our given array, which is 2. So it's gonna add number 2 to our sum was 1, right? So now it's gonna be 1 plus 2 here. So our sum is gonna be 3 now, and on the next round the same thing. On each iteration, I is being incremented by 1, and then taking that each element of array, adding it to the sum. Now sum will hold all the sum of all the elements of an array, and then we are returning it here. So let's initialize to 0, and this is going to be initialized to 0 as well. Now if we run it, it should pass. You can see it's correct if we submit this code. And it passed for all the cases here. That's it.